as well. Shoot the breeze topic number 3 is there truth behind any of these memes? Are they even funny? Let me see if my computer could do it. Let's go to, let me post this and share the link with you guys. Present. All right. So this takes us to a tweet, which you guys should be able to see. The tweet says, which one actually came first? Which is the quote-unquote parent meme? And it's referring to this meme here, flirting versus harassment. On the left, there's this guy. It says in quotes, that dress looks sexy on you. So that's him saying to a woman, hey, that dress looks sexy on you. That's deemed as flirting. This is an old Bill. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Bill Burjo, by the way. That dress looks sexy on you from this guy is flirting. That dress looks sexy on you from this guy on the right is harassment. That's a popular meme. And then here's one that says, on the left, it's Rick Ross, the rapper, with his shirt off. And it says above it, put on a shirt, N-word. I'm not going to say the N-word. But on the right is Lizzo, naked. And they call that empowering, right? Here's another meme. On the left is a black man wearing a McDonald's uniform. And under it says broke ass. And on the right, there's a black woman doing the same job pretty much at McDonald's. And it says strong and independent. So that question, we go back to the prompt. Is there truth behind any of these memes? Are they even funny? Let me start with Real Black. Is Real Black? Yeah, let me start with Real Black Gentleman. What say you to this?
It's like, what I'm saying, it's the contrast and the juxtapositions, and like I was hearing something earlier today about, there's a difference between low energy baby mamas versus high energy single mothers. It's like you're trying to juxtapose things that don't need to be juxtaposed. Like, it's like the trying to find the gap in nuance. You know what I'm saying? If something is nuanced, then there's tightness between it, but you're trying to like find daylight between it. And I know, it's like the idea that if a man works at a McDonald's, he's no good. But if a woman's doing it, she, what I'm saying, what it is, I can, it's just the pictures. You have the guy, and it's like, I'm looking at him right now. It doesn't even look like well, again, I can't see it because it's like, what I'm saying, it's the nature of the photos. Like, she looks like she's active in her job, but it looks like he's just standing there taking a picture type stuff. You see what I'm saying? I'm just here. She's like engaged with she's grabbing the thing, it's an action shot, strength. Well, he's just kind of like there. I mean, what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's not goofy. It's like, what I'm saying? It's like, he said, put on. It's like, it's like you're finding something there. I think the whole idea of memes, it's like what it does is just, you guys know what neuro-linguistic programming is, right? Yeah, you guys, I'm hoping you, the host, are aware of like what that is, the concept behind that. It's just like, but I think that what's happens is that we, people catch their trends that go on, and what I'm saying, social media, proliferates them. And so the idea that, someone, I'm sitting here looking at this like Rick Ross, that he should have his shirt on while she shouldn't, whereas we live in a culture where women cannot have their shirts on. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is highly discouraged. You know what I'm saying? It's seen as aberrant for women, just that, that's just not how it goes around here. You know what I'm saying? As much I would, like, otherwise it just don't. So like, what is this? That dress, that's goofy. Why did you do? That's goofy. Why did you do that? The idea that, people are always going to have a bit of bias and a bit of idealism. But again, when the idea of hypocrisy is that you're being undercritical of yourself. That's what a hypocrite is. Someone who is undercritical, like a hypodermic needle, is a needle that goes under the dermis or the skin. A hypocrite is someone who's undercritical of themselves. You know what I'm saying? So like the idea, you know what I'm saying? Like the idea that, a person, neither of those guys should be wearing dresses, right? That's goofy. It's like, but I think that, what I'm saying, it can be, what I'm saying, like, it's not funny unless you try to put humor into it. I mean, you can be upset, but if you kind of don't, you can, it's important to sometimes check your own humor. What you find funny, sometimes you have to think about it and be like, man, that's not really that funny. I shouldn't be out here, you know what I'm saying? In your own heart, be like, that's not what I need to be laughing at. You start to think about it instead of just being, reacting to, the cues that you see. I'm starting to ramble. I'm gonna pass the mic.
Let's hear from Danger Daring.
Actually, okay, whoever that guy is that's talking, he is funny as fuck. Okay. I would say is that actually I feel like the memes are true.
Dead serious what he was saying, but go ahead.
No, I know. I just like the way he talked because he's just very interesting and different.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. But I would say yes, the memes are very true. I'll be honest with you. It is, except for the meme of the McDonald's thing. Now,
are they also funny?
No, it's not funny. You just the obvious. It's not funny, but the McDonald's one, yes, the McDonald's one. For me, I have dated a man that work at McDonald's. Like I know, like another woman, she may feel different, but for me, I don't see a man having a job as being broke. But yeah, that one I didn't agree with, but the other ones I do. But Lizzo was looking really good in that picture, though. She was. But I don't have anything else important to say on this one, though.
Lizzo
tag me in, coach.
Yeah, I think she looked beautiful in there. Okay. To me.
Okay. Who just said tag me in?
Me. Tag me in, coach.
All right, Uzuda, go ahead.
Yo, I think this whole shit is misandry. Because all these memes, when it's the man that's doing the so-called because let's use this guy right here, Rick Ross, especially this one right here. If it was the opposite, if he was the good-looking woman, and then we had this guy, the ugly girl, supposedly everybody would have been, oh, that's disrespectful, or you're body shaming. When it comes to men, they shame men regardless. They shame men for their job. They shame men for how they look. But women, you can't say nothing. That picture with Lizzo looks terrible. She looks like a bus. So she should put a shirt on the same way Rick Ross should put a shirt on.
You are wild.
So this whole shit right here is misandry. I would even say misandry noir, because look at how they play the brother. But her, she's thin. Let's be honest, this is misandry noir. First of all, Lizzo's pretty in the face. I would never say that. But like she looks like
the body not him for you.
She looked like the vampire from Blade, the one that they kill in the basement. Like, get out of here. Go lose some weight. Stop. We're not taking that right here. The same way we could tell Rick Ross to go lose some weight, put a shirt on. Shorty, put your shirt on too.
Okay.
So what I see.
Okay. Well, what about the dude with the blue T-shirt on in the neck? What about him with the blue T-shirt on in the neck? What about that?
Don't you see when it's this guy that's flirting with you, it's sexual harassment. When it's the other one, it's not. So flip that. What if he was a fat girl over here and a good-looking girl? Yeah, I would have been like, oh, yeah, fat shaming. Yeah, this. Me, I'm telling the guy with the blue, he needs to lose weight too.
Yeah. I'm
at an even kill. So I think there's a lot of misandry in all these memes. But you know what? Men like to sacrifice themselves to for a laugh. I bet you it's all men that created these shit.
I agree with that, Julie. Go ahead.
No, I'm tagged off. I'm good. I tagged Gas him up. Go ahead, Gas.
Go ahead, Gas.
I was gonna say it ain't my show, man. Koku gotta say who goes next. Look, I'm just gonna say that shout out to Marcus Garvey, the way made a great statement in the comment section, right, about in the Caribbean, right? I just think, look, this is what happens when people are under captivity. This is Babylon. In reference to big women are fat and all that stuff. I don't think it's necessarily uh, because Lizzo um, doesn't look like the Rihanna type aesthetic. I think it's in America, some women have ugly personalities, right? Because I'll give you an example with the comedian Leslie. I forgot her name. She's on Saturday Night Live, and
Jones.
she's Leslie Jones. She's tall. She's black, right? In Africa, you'd see some, short Fulani man. She'd be like wife number two. Like, yo, cook my food. You know what I'm saying? But in America, like all her comments, she's like, yeah, I'm a man, and you want me to walk down the alley with you? And it's like, yo,
Yeah, that's very
lady,
true.
why are you acting like you still put your legs in there? Calm down and lay on your back. Like
Exactly. I agree
I
with
don't
that.
need you to be tough, But Babylon, because the system only can. Oh, she's a big black woman, so she has to be aggressive. And it's like you go to the
Exactly.
Caribbean, you go to Africa, a big black woman like her doesn't feel she got to be a top shotter. You get what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
no, that would like they'd look at her like, what are you talking about? Like, yo, go cook me some ackee and saltfish, man. Like, what are you talking about? Like, go sit down. But this is what happens when you're in America. So I just think that we got to find a way, even if not physically, but mentally, leave this country. This stuff will destroy your brain cells. You know,
Yeah.
and then in reference to the man and the other fat guy, or the hardworking guy at McDonald's, and the woman not being, again, this is what America does, right? Because funny enough, again, if I go to Nigeria, most of the guys who have muscles like him, unless you're like very rich, they're fat. They look like that guy. The guys who have money, those are the guys who are the heads of the immigration or the head of the police. They look like that guy.
Hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And that's the guy that's getting all the girls in Nigeria, not the guy who's lifting weights in the gym. Like, no one's, he might get a girl or two. You know what I'm saying? But the guy who has the money, he's gonna get all the girls. So
Very true.
and then with the McDonald's thing, and it just shows you again that this country will destroy black people. Look at the narrative, right? So the black girl is meant to be seen as hardworking, the black guy is meant to be seen as lazy. And, until black people, like I said, mentally check out of this stuff, you're just gonna be in the captivity, and they're gonna always play these things and these memes and these stereotypes and these templates against each other.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, everybody get out of Babylon, either physically or mentally.
Yeah. I agree with that too.
This is why I was going to tell this to Oni when it came up a couple weeks ago, but it was a kind of a tense time, so I didn't bother with it. But that kind of talk about, like, if you're not working out and your back ain't strong. I grew up around some older men from the church I grew up in, and who taught me a lot. And a lot of those men would hear you say that and look at you with a side eye and suck their teeth, because I know fellas like this on the right, on that image right there, who will stand up with one cigarette in their hand and a Calic bear and still be pulling gas, because it's just different. America is something else, man. That's the one thing Marcus Garvey's way mentioned several times in that special report panel that we did. America is different, and in fact, in real life in America, I'm not necessarily saying this guy on the right, but guys who are approaching that still get women out here, man. You know what I mean? With that said, let me go to Buana Hagaziki, though. Buana, what say you?
No,
Buana,
um,
you know
Wait,
what I'm
wait,
talking about, too.
wait. Hold on. Before we go to Buana, I want to say that you notice before we go to Buana. Sorry, I just want to say that you notice that this ties back in with the have and have nots conversation, and how we're saying basically the guy on the right looks like a have, right, and the guy on the left looks like a have not, and therefore the guy on the have is going to get more, and like we all kind of agree with it, but we also nominally say otherwise. But I'll hold that for later.
Yeah, hold that thought there. I appreciate that. Let me hear from Buana. for now. Because Buana, I know you know them fellas I talking about, right?
I find this conversation hilarious. But say calm down and lay on your back. That's golden. That's golden. Let me stop laughing. Yeah, I when I look at these pictures, I just see it as like a gender what Kazuli call it misandry. You know, it's like a gender war.
I
Um,
think your volume is a little low, Buana.
can you hear me now? Can you hear
Yeah,
me
yeah,
now?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a gender war out of the subjective, because you could attach your subjective mind and create different ideas of what you see in these images. You know, for instance, um, for this guy on the right and the other guy on the left, right? Now, you know, a woman's what they say, women's idea of attraction is not a monolith. It's not a monolith. What one
Exactly.
what one woman might be attracted to, another woman might not be attracted to.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I can't say because my man get a double chin, that means he will be able to pull women. And like you all say, I've known many men who look just like this brother over here. He have a mouth game going on, and he'll be able to pull the most beautiful. And and you'll be like, well, how the hell did he
Hmm.
get?
No, that's true though.
It's just confidence. It's
Because
perception.
he a simp. He a simp like you. That's why.
Maybe, maybe so. Maybe he might be a simp like me. Who knows? But for the other one, and I can get you back with that one. But for the other one, for the other picture, now these people are musicians, right? They've been creating music. Whoever have their mic on, could you cut it, please? Um, yeah, who these guys have been creating music for more than a decade. I don't understand why we as musicians always have to take photos with our clothes off. You are a musician. You make music. Nothing in these pictures points to the fact that you have the ability to create music. Why do you have to use your flesh to sell records when you are masterful in your craft of music making? Could you imagine Johnny Cash laying on a couch with no clothes on? You know what I mean? Could you imagine? You know why do we always have to come and take pictures with our clothes off? By the way, this big chick is sexy, by the way, and I would but that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying that she as a musician,
From now on, we gonna say you from Turks and Caicos. You know, you can't be behaving too much. But go
why?
ahead.
Because she thick like this.
This lady, she's pretty in the face, but
No,
come on.
she no, she is a little bit on the
Yeah,
Tyree side.
but Buana, it's not about. At least for me, look, man.
Yeah,
Lizzo is not to me. I just look at it. Look, Lizzo is not a problem. The issue is her mentality and her attitude. She's ugly mentally.
I never heard her talk before. I only saw pictures
I've
and
seen interviews like I've heard her. Oh, I shut men down.
never
When
heard her
these
talk.
women, yeah, I've looked at it. It's like, look, that's what makes her unattractive to me. It's like,
Under-
look, listen, what are
Understood.
you doing?
I
You
understand.
know,
I understand that. As far as the last picture is concerned. Now, you could take that two ways. You could see that this guy on the depending on where you standing in life, you could see this guy as a black immigrant dude. He have three jobs. This is third job for the end of the day. You could see him as a single father who trying to feed his kids by taking on a second job. He got to work at McDonald's. How you look at this picture, you can see how well she's just a well-dressed crack whore trying to get crack and getting a McDonald's wage. It just depends on what you're looking at and where you at. You could attach anything to these pictures you want to. The messaging on the bottom give you an idea of what should be perceived from the photo, but you yourself come into the picture with your own preconceived notions. So without the lettering at the bottom, you could come and have whatever idea you have in your head and how you perceive the picture to be. I think as Gas was saying and others on the panel, you know what I mean. We bring what we bring to the table is what we bring to the table, and like I say, you can't put a suit or a jacket on everyone and then have an idea that this is what everyone thinks of this guy with muscles, this guy with a double chin, Lizzo, who's a big girl, and Rick Rock, who's a musician as well, and as a big guy. I don't know. I don't assign and attach these preconceived ideas about the world just off based off of the photo. I think that that's unfair, and I think that every individual, based on his personal experience, brings their own idea of what they perceiving in these different kinds of photos, man. And they could vary, they could run the gambit. So I don't do that, but. Urzuli, I got you. You know what I mean? Don't forget, man. You call me a sip for the show, I'm gonna get you with that. I'll stop there.
I want to welcome in another panelist tonight. My guess is he's going to say men trying to get the same treatment as women, but let's see what he says, actually. Let's bring in Brother Bakari. Brother Bakari, how are you this week?
I'm good, man. What's going on? What's going on, everybody?
Good, good. I didn't see you today. You didn't have the game on, huh?
No, man. You know what? I got up. I went to work this morning, man. I had to go dump some dirt. They called me. I had to go move some dirt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But actually, what I'm gonna say is, we were talking about the guy right there with the triple neck and him
with the Lizzo under his chin, yeah.
Yeah, with that big chin, right? And you're talking about the big dudes getting women or whatever. I don't know who said it. I forget, but confidence, man. Confidence. You can make them smile. You got a nice conversation. You understand? If your conversation well equipped, if your conversation is well equipped and you have layers, and you can talk about just about every damn thing, and at the same time you make them smile. Just my opinion. That's what it is. A lot of times when some of these big dudes, when some of these big dudes like that get women. But but you're right. I'm not gonna complain of what they say, of somebody talking about body shaming and doing all that. They say if it was a woman, the woman would be complaining. I don't know, man. That you know me, I don't get caught up. I don't get caught up in that, man. If people want to say that's what would happen if that was if that what people want to say, that's what they can say. But I don't get caught up in that, man. I just think the brothers able to get them a woman because their conversation is nice. That's just my take on it. They got a nice conversation, so the women come to it. And big women like Lizzo, it's men out there that like big women and ain't gonna have no problem with it. Now them sitting around just showing it like that to the whole world. You understand? I don't know. And I heard the sister say she dated somebody at McDonald's. I know women, excuse me, I'm talking about 6-figure women, that didn't have a problem dating somebody who worked at McDonald's. As long as the person treated them with respect and got up and went to work and worked hard, they had no problem as long as they had goals to it. As long as they're trying to get to the next level. You don't want to keep stay in the same position. Eventually you want to be the manager. I know women that done that. I have no problem with it. I get them right.
No, I appreciate it, Bakari. Bakari, by the way, did you find these memes to be truthful or funny or neither?
Well, they were. I don't think they were true. They were funny, especially the dude with about 8 chins right there. That was. It was some memes was kind of funny. I didn't even see it as like shaming nobody. If Lizzo, I don't know if she sat around like that or not. But if she did, that's something she chose to damn do. I don't see it as body shaming. I thought some of them was funny.
I appreciate that, Brother Bakari. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Brother Bakari's show as well. With that all said, I think I got everyone but Oni. Oni, what say you?
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, so I would say this. So I one time took a class, and they were saying, it was like a white class, mostly focused on white women type stuff. And they were like, hey, the white beauty standard has changed over time. Like they were like, Marilyn Monroe was once considered a beautiful woman, and she was like a size 12 or something. I don't know, whatever. She was fairly big, plump, whatever, right? Relative to what's beautiful today. And then they were like, in other countries, like in countries with like poverty, for instance, right? When women were big, it signified that she came from a wealthy household, as opposed to, you know, if a woman's like bone thin, then, you know, she's probably poor, you know, or she comes from a poor family, right? You know, I say that because, you know, what happens is that, you know, like, because the guy on the right, you know, no disrespect to, you know, my family, but he kind of looks like somebody in my family who, you know, who does pull, you know, who does pull women because he has money, right? But it's like we go back to the original question and we're like, hey, you know, should haves um should have not to be treated like haves, you know? Um and you know, we all say, and I said it then. I was like, you know, it was my favorite joke from this Indian boy who said, he said, I just wanted to make enough money for women to like me for my personality, right? And that's really what it is. You know, we say we're objecting to the haves being treated from differently from the have-nots, but then we concede that, hey, you know, it's very normal for people to size you up based off of the idea, you know, basically prejudice, like prejudge you based off of their impression of what you have or what you don't have. And then by that, you know, adjust their behavior towards you accordingly. So to the point where, like I said, you know, I'm going, when I'm in Africa, if I look like a have, if I present myself like a have, then people will, people will take to me. If like, for instance, when I remember when I was in Africa, in fact, when I was in Ghana, I was like, I hope nobody is looking at me funny because I'm not going to work at all. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because in America, if you're not going to work, people are like, what the fuck is wrong with you, right? But, you know, they were like, so I told this to, you know, somebody who was pretty astute, like a professor type. Well, she was a professor. And she was like, well, you know, the thing that you're doing is that you're not going around begging. You know what I mean? Like, you're not, looking for a handout. You're not begging. What you're doing, in fact, is that you're going to, like, you're paying tips and you're paying, you're paying for everything that's around, and you're buying more than you need. And, you're giving, and all that kind of stuff. And so with that sort of personality, in a sense, I, people are not going to look at you funny. Whereas if I were to go to Africa and, like, put more dust on my clothes, if you will, and like just sit outside and just like ask people, hey, can you spare me $1 or whatever, right? Then yeah, they're gonna look at me funny. They're gonna treat me different. They're gonna treat me funny. And I mean, but as far as the memes are concerned, yeah, but I think that there's there's a layer of truth to them, that women will say that you're sexually harassing them based off of how good they look. But it also applies to women. It's not too often that women are going to be openly flirtatious with the man, but when they are and they're not good looking, as a man who was, I think it was maybe one time I was on the receiving end of that. It was very weird, it was like, ew, I remember this one woman who just stared at me, just the weird, just stared at me so blatantly. It was uncomfortable. Now, granted, as a man, I was like, maybe I still hit, but, but, notwithstanding, I could say that, yeah, the whole, whether it's sexual harassment based off of how good a person looks, is just a normal thing about us as human beings. Just the same as, is it window shopping? Is it window shopping based off of, is it casing the joint, or window shopping based off of how much money you got? You know what I mean? If I go into a store and I have money, I'm nobody's like, oh, well, they're like, okay, he's just going to buy something. But if I don't have money and I'm going to a store looking around, it's like, yo, are you casing the joint? Are you trying to steal? What are you doing? Are you stealing? And, we have that experience. We have that treatment, but, it is what it is. I would say, the dress looks funny, so on and so forth. For the other one, for the McDonald's one, I could say that I've seen. Oh, the Lizzo one. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, Miss Untouchable, or Buana, you sound like you're starving, because no, Lizzo did not look that picture. And that's the thing. Lizzo kind of acts like she has the confidence to pull off the body she has. And it kind of for a little moment, you might be like, okay, I could see the confidence on her, but she is not. She's just a little bit too big, a little bit too round, a little bit too out of shape. She's not thick, as much as she's fat, you know. And I think that's she just kind of like it's just a little bit too far on the fat thing. As far as the and like Rick Ross obviously needs to put on a shirt. And that's the thing. Actually, I wanted to put on that too because some people were using the Lizzo thing to say that why are they critiquing women when they're fat when they don't critique men? But my earliest memory of a black person calling themselves ugly, right, or any man calling himself ugly was Biggie Smalls. Like he would just say, "I'm fat, ugly, and black," like almost like every other song. And for me, it was like I was like, I was thinking that he's not that unattractive, although I also recognize that he probably was. But like I was just like, you're not that. You don't have to hate on yourself like that. But like the first example of a man like hating on himself, for me was in Biggie. And just for the last image, the last meme, about the man working at this job versus the woman working at this job, or I guess maybe the older man working at this job versus the younger woman working at this job. That is something I observed when I like had like let's say clients, right? Let's say I had two clients, and one of them was complaining. The woman was complaining about the man for being in the position to be a client, notwithstanding the fact that they were both in the same position. So I was just kind of like, what, but of course she also thought he was too old as a man to like not to whatever. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I could see that there's there's kind of a double standard, but I also think it's just comical and it's just comedy based off of like kind of like what Real Duck Gentleman was saying about just how the pictures were taken, and just for the like I think it was really done for comedic effect because kind of like what Bwana was saying in the sense of realistically people wouldn't look at these pictures and attach any real meaning to it, but because it's written in the way it is, it's really just a joke. Because what jokes are like the structure of a joke or the structure of a punchline is that it kind of subverts your expectations. So what happens is that you look at the picture on the left and it really doesn't really correlate with what you see, but then the picture on the right, because it's so out of the ordinary, it's kind of ridiculous that's what makes it funny. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's true that people are looking at the I wouldn't say it's true. I think so that's all I would say about that.
I'm curious. Before we go on to shoot the breeze topic number 4, I want to ask you guys. Trigger Happy 262 had asked us early in the chat. How do you guys define thick and fat? I'm curious. Azuli, I'm gonna start with you.
Thick. Damn. Lizzo's definitely obese. In fact, that I could identify that shit all the way. Thick would be more like I can't really. There's different levels of thick. There's Megan Thee Stallion. I think she's slim. She's thick. Who else? I don't know. Thick is when your waist is small and your hip to your stomach ratio is like 1-3, not 3-3. So I don't know. Thick is different. Thick might be curvaceous, and then I think thick could be curvaceous, but your stomach cannot be bigger than cannot stick out further than your booty do. That's all I know. So I think there's a difference. There's you could be fat and you could be thick. There's a difference. I don't know.
You can't have eyes for days and belly for weeks, right? That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, yes. You can't buy eyes for this and your week is a month. No, we can't do that. And I want to say something. I just want to point out that in those pictures, I'm not saying that it's okay for a man to be overweight and it's not okay for a woman to. I believe that we all need to work on ourselves to be more healthy. Whether you could pull women off with that fat shit, how long that's gonna last you? 50 years, 60 years? Then you're gonna catch a heart attack and you have cataracts in your eyes. So that's what I'm saying. But I do feel in that there's a lot of misandry in that stuff. That's what I'm saying. But go
ahead. Same question to me. Let me ask Danger. What do you consider thick versus fat?
Fat is like usually it's obvious, fat is like just the point. No, Lizzo is fat. She is. I didn't deny she was fat when she was fat in the first place when I first talked about it. But yes, she is plump. Thick. I would say thick would be like Beyonce, and I would say fat would be like Lizzo. Yes, and with thick is more so you have like the extra fat in the hips and the ass and the arms and the breasts. I would say, and I would say fat is more you have the thickness in the stomach, the legs, the ankles, the wrist, the neck. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yes.
Okay. Marcus Garvey is the way in the chat says thick is Hottentot Venus shape. Real Black German in the chat said 36, 24, 36 is classic thick. Real Black German, talk about it.
You can't be skinny and be thick. I mean, you have to actually have like bulk to your frame, like, and I guess thick is
bro. You could be skinny. I've seen skinny women with all these. I've seen skinny women who got it though. So
no, I mean, I guess that's not how I'm describing it. I'm for me, like if you're skinny, you have weight, you have a different term. For me, it's like thick is like just there's a little less muscle tone than usual, but you're still soft. You still have your proportions. I guess thick, thick is again not having some fat in some places. I think when we're talking about thick, it's like you have a thickness in comfortable places.
Exactly.
This what I'm saying. If you're skinny, it's hard to be thick. You can have weight. You can be. I want to use another word. I'm not good with the words right now. But to me, that's thick. I mean, fat. Again, if you have a neck, all that, you have like a double arms and the fat hanging off and jiggling. The drumstick legs, and again, your waist is the same size. You have two. You know what I'm saying? You start to have the fat is fat. I mean, in terms of women. I mean, we're talking, and that's the context of what I'm saying. I'm assuming this is like, it's okay. It's like fat is good. It's good to have some fat. When I sit here and say 36, 24, 36, that's to say like I also said like maybe a little less muscle tone, but a good softness, because thick has to be soft to the touch too. It's not just you know what I'm saying. You can imagine that you can see the softness. That's what thick is. I'm gonna pass.
Real Black Gentleman thinks a marshmallow is thick, by the way. I was just gonna go to Brother Bakari is here. Brother Bakari, you're a Southern gentleman. What's thick versus fat to you?
Okay, first I'm gonna say that 36, 24, 36, that's them white women stuff, but that's just my take. Clarissa Shields is thick. If you watch boxing.
Hell yeah.
Clarissa Shields is thick. Lizzo is fat. Yeah. Now, trust me, I don't get it twisted. I love black women. I've dated a fat woman before. If they cool with me, they cool with me. But she
almost killed you, didn't she?
No, no. She was good to me.
Hey, wait. She's a brick house. 36, 24, 36. That's I would take umbrage to saying that's white stuff. I think that's classic dimension of a good black woman.
I'm like Sir Mix-a-Lot, 36, 24, 36. Only if you 5'6".
Exactly right.
I don't think Clarissa Shields is thick. I think she's athletic though. But
Clarissa, you must haven't seen Clarissa Shields.
You talking about the boxer?
Yes, Clarissa Shields is 5'8".
She's
Wait. She's 5'8". She fight at 165, and she cut weight to get to 165, and she ain't fat. She have to cut weight to get to that size. Clarissa Shields is thick.
Nah, I think she's more athletic. I think Serena might be more thick in that level, but I think. But I get what you're saying though. But Clarissa Shields is a monster though. Athletically, she's a monster. Her body's crazy too though. Not even.
And that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying thick. Look at her. That's what I'm talking about. She's fine, right? She's thick. That everybody have their own, what they gonna consider. But in Lizzo, I don't think my woman was big as Lizzo though. But that's
Nah, bro. Don't back it up. Nah, she was.
No, but I don't think she was that big. But I'm just saying, she was cool with me. I'm just saying, me and her was cool.
Brother Bakari. Okay. I appreciate that, Brother Bakari.
Hey,
Yeah, but by the way,
watch this. You notice I'm the one who didn't say nothing about Vawani when he said that, right?
I
I
know.
ain't saying everybody else did. I didn't. I understand. All right.
You're like him on the bigger side. Before I continue with the rest, um, let's keep the follow up responses brief. But also, this is why I say I want to shoot the breeze where there's set subjects, and I think beauty standards needs to be a set one. I think we really got to talk about this more. We got to come to some consensus, across the board, some ideas of what's thick, what's beautiful in terms of blackness. Because Trigger Happy had a good comment in there a second ago. So he says, now you got to be careful. Body shape different in different areas in the black world. Thickness is different in the north of America compared to the south. That's why I was curious to hear what Bakari was going to say, because he's a southern gentleman. So he thick to them oftentimes is some real fluffy kind of curvaceous type thing, right? I'm trying to find the word. I can't think of it right now, but their thick is a little different from, say, a New York thick. Let me hear from Gas Them Up. Gas Them Up, as a Soko man, what is thick versus fat to you?
To be honest, I okay. Look, I get it, right? We're men, thick. This one is thick, but I personally try not to use those things anymore. Thick, right? I'll be honest. Thick for me is mentally thick. So that would mean she's a moron. Let me finish, man. Let me finish. That would mean she's a moron. That would mean that the smartest thing that comes out of her mouth is my genitalia. That's thick. Fat would mean, she's retarded and that she has a terrible attitude. So for me, I'm trying. I'm not saying that I don't look at women like, oh, okay, she's beautiful, but it's like Christmas ornaments. You walk down the block, you're going to see another family with the same decoration and blah, blah, blah. I think we got to get past that, because that's how we end up in problems as men. We look at these women. Let me finish. Let me finish. You see, let me finish. Chill out, brother. That's why we get into problems as men. And I'm not excluded from that. But we look at these women and like, oh man, we don't understand. This stuff is painted on, right? It's $55.99 at best. The leggings, the Spanx, the jeggings, the yoga wear, the high heels, and they wear some tight fitting clothes. Like, we got to get past that and start looking at really behavior. We gotta really start looking at industrialism.
I agree with that.
No,
let
me finish. I'm just being real, because yeah, it's nice to look at, but let's be frank. We're men here. If I gave you 15 of the baddest women and say perform tonight, no man here is gonna be able to perform. So they can last on their back a lot longer than we can last on top of them. That's just a fact.
Exactly.
Right? So
get
to me,
you can last. Get some blue chews.
Hey, listen, I like my heart. I'm not gonna die like some men on top of a woman, like in The Color Purple. But the point is that I think I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there for the men and for posterity, for those who watch the playback. Men, we got to get it's great. Like I said, we look at beautiful women, because look, I'll be honest. If you want to talk about thickest women in the world are South African women. Don't believe me? Google it. In terms of those women in South Africa, no one's touching them, right? But we got to get past that and start looking at, forget the thick and all that. Let's get to a stage where we're looking at behavior. Let's get to a stage where we're looking at the people who are willing to conform to community standards and attitude. That's beautiful. So I'm not saying
exactly.
I'm gonna be done. My last sentence. Let me say my last sentence, or so you can respond. This is my last sentence. I'm not gonna say that Gabrielle Sidibe is I'm personally gonna say, oh, I'm super attracted to her versus a Rihanna. But I will say this: if I had to marry a woman, right, and Gabby's going to be on my team, I'm not saying that I'm probably still. I'm a polygamist, so whatever. But at the end of the day, I would marry Gabby and still do my thing with Rihanna if Gabby's going to be on the team and raise the kids right and focus with the community and the family, as opposed to, oh, I got this beautiful bad chick at home and she's burning grits. So you guys get ahead and chase all those so-called thickums if you want. That's why our kids are thick in
Guys,
the head.
shut up, man. Shut up. You lying sucker, Oni. You acting like Oni right now. Shut up.
Oh,
Damn.
wow.
You know, the irony is that I was rolling my eyes. Like, I was like, what? Nah, I was rolling my eyes, but okay, all right, me too,
Well,
I
we
guess.
could
Right,
do two
Oni, what is
things.
this
We could
man
do two
talking
things.
about? What is this man talking
We
about?
could do two things. We could like him thick and smart as well. You know what I mean? We could.
That's what
I
I'm
get where
saying.
Gas is coming from.
I understand what Gas is saying. We should not be focused on the outer only, but the outer makes me come talk to you. If the inside is trash, the outer don't mean nothing to me. That's why I understand what Gas is saying. Let's not focus on the outer, because if your inside is trash, I don't care what your outer said. If your inside is beautiful and great, man, all you could be is my best friend. Like, what the fuck? Come on, can we meet? Nah, Gas, I'm ashamed of you today, Gas. Get out of here, man.
Gas, I liked what you said. It was very good what you said.
Of course you would. Of course
Let's
you
hear
would.
from Buana.
Don't be a hater. Don't be a hater.
Yeah, my opinion on the difference. let me put a caveat on here, because y'all believe that I date big women. My woman,
Yeah,
is,
Buana think Jabba the Hutt is thick, but go ahead.
my woman,
Oh,
is
dang, was I the only nerd? What the fuck?
my woman is 5'8" at 140. So I ain't worrying about your brothers. What
We need receipt. We need receipt, Mr. Untouchable. We don't believe you. Stop.
That's all right.
That was the size of her meal.
That's a fact. But let me just say this: my belief is thick is Queen Latifah and Monique. That's what I believe thick to be. What I believe
Ew.
fat to be is somebody like Precious. You know what is Gabby Sidibe as Gas described it? And I understand what Gas is saying. You have to look a little bit deeper. But just based off of the fact that this is just a fun conversation alone, and I'll just look at it like that. That's the difference. That's my gauge. That what I consider to be thick is Queen Latifah or Monique. What I consider as fat is Precious. That's the difference for me. So,
all right, only you got the last word on it. What's your idea of thick versus fat?
Well, all right. First, I want to just say that there is slim thick, and I think slim thick is probably ideal. But outside
Lupita
of that,
slim.
yeah, Lupita got she got it done. All right, anyway. Yeah. but I was gonna summarize it. Thick is South Africa and fat is America. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even complicated, nah. But since it's already been said, I guess. Yeah, I mean, realistically, I think everybody was saying that it's really about how curvy you are. Slim thick, however, will be that you have the curves, but you have the curves. Thick is that you have an excess in the curves. But of course, fat is when the curves are lost. So with Lizzo doesn't even have the curves. Let's be honest, right? I don't know where this Monique and I don't know that's just wild to me. But Lizzo doesn't even have the curves. But what happened with Lizzo is that she's kind of shaped like a circle or something. No disrespect to the lady, but in that sense, that's where you would get to fat. Just like with Rick Ross, it's there's different levels to a male's body. But generally speaking, if there's an excess of fat deposits in the stomach, mainly, that's when it's less appealing. Now, obviously, if a woman is curvy on top of everything, there's a degree to which men will overlook the stomach. But then there's the point where, like the sis was saying, when the fat deposits are in, areas that normally don't have fat deposits, ankles and wrists and so forth. And then that's when it's just, you just have an excess of fat, to the point where your body is finding new ways to distribute fat. And that's when you are fat. Whereas thick would be, maybe again, your body would be depositing that fat, in particularly, I guess, erogenous zones, and that's and like for that, it's like, yeah, there's no real harm to that. And of course, like I said, slim thick, which I think is optimal, which is when you still have that fat distribution, or like you basically have a light fat distribution in the erogenous
My
zones. Yeah.
Maya is slim thick. Maya is slim thick.
Well, yeah,
You know,
a lot. I feel like a lot of the celebrities, like for instance, like Megan Thee Stallion would be, I feel like would be like slim thick, or
I think she's a little bit above that, bro.
yeah, she's a little bit above, but like she's she's there, whereas like when we're talking about thick though, yeah, like we said, Hot and Top Venus, or whomever from South Africa, that's when you say, that's when you're like thick. But like when I was in Ghana, like a lot of the women were like slim thick. It was nice.
Cool. I just want to quickly point out for the record, it's interesting. Everyone said Gas, even in the comment section, was saying Gas was pandering. I don't know who I was pandering to, but I just want all the men to who?
I said I didn't know either. I
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, I don't know, but I just want to point out for the record to all the men, it's interesting. Excuse me, that we're mostly men on this panel, and if we were to ask women, or if we were to watch a panel with women, they never would describe their ideal male type as fake and this and that. They might say it for laughs and giggles, but they typically reduce men to the function. And what men do, and this is why we're 10 steps behind them, is we try to get the look and then try to make the look fit our function, as opposed to seeking out the function and then justifying the look. So that's the equivalent of sticking your penis in the woman's vagina, then putting. Oh, let me finish, Arzuli. It's sticking your penis in the vagina for about 5 minutes, then pulling out and saying, "I want to put the condom on." That makes no sense. So what we just did is and Arzuli, I've told you this. Email me, Arzuli, gasthemup@gmail.com. Gas is not pandering. I'm trying to save men from being manipulated. Read Chinwezu's. Arzuli, just listen, Arzuli. Read Chinwezu's book, the Anatomy of Female Power. You will understand this obsession we have with the body type image of women, which they can achieve with BBLs, with Dominican, body transformations. They can achieve this with Spanx. They can achieve this with high heels, butt pads, push-up bras. They can deceive us. I've seen gremlins turn into 5-star beauty queens with makeup. You are being manipulated the more you follow along with this slim thick, lower thick, body thick, Snickers thick. It's part of us being manipulated as men. And I'm only putting it out there so that men can stop being manipulated. Don't take my word. You're a Pan-Africanist. I'm not. Take Chinwezu, The Anatomy of Female Power. Read the book. If you want it, email me, Arzuli. I'll send it to you.
But this is what I'm. Hold on 1 second, because we got to move on too. I'll let Arzuli go in a second, and then we'll move on. But quickly, Afro-Native World in the chat earlier said, because of this thick desire, skinny black women be doing all kinds of surgeries and drugs to get thick. I just want to say again, in this conversation, and I don't think anyone else did, we're not putting so-called quote-unquote thick above, well, I guess only kind of did it, thick above skinny, thick above slim. What we are trying to do, at least what I'm trying to get at, and what I want to constantly chip at on Shoot the Breeze, is what are our standards of beauty? Because most of us have a Eurocentric view of beauty. Most of us, actually, if we're being really honest, maybe it's not the Pan-Africanist, but we're being really honest. A lot of black men, if they see some ass and breasts and stuff on a woman, they think she's fat, because they're thinking about the white woman these days who, like Oni said in the chat, is rocking a size 0, pretty straight body, you know what I mean, and all that. Whereas we need to kind of discuss, what forms do we come in, both men and women. I'm down for that conversation. What forms do we come in, and what should be what should be, the form that you like. Notwithstanding, of course, you have to go with the mental capacity and acuity and all that kind of stuff. I have no problem with that. One can happen with the other. That's fine. But we should definitely talk about beauty standards too, because some of our men, in particular, some of our women too, we shun some of our people. Again, that have and have nots conversation, right? We shun some of our people, but we should kind of come off of that. We should come off of that heavy. Zuli, I'll give you the last word.
Last week we spoke. Mr. Gassama said, who taught the women to chase men with money? He said that. So now all of a sudden you're saying women are being more functional? Last week you said, who taught the woman to go after a man who has money versus the look? And another thing, a woman might go after a nigga who's making 300,000, but some of these women be cheating with the pool boy. So of course they're gonna go with for the money's sake, but who they're attracted to might be the pool boy who is not fat, like the nigga who's making 500K and who's fat as hell. And yes, I understand what you're saying. I'm not, even though I say thick this and that, I'm not letting no thick women run my mind, because you know why? Like you said, if the inside is not functional, is not smart, what am I gonna do with the thick? The body gets old. After I had intercourse with you for like 2-3 months, like what's new? So I get what you're saying. I'm not saying that's the end all, but we're describing beauty, and you there talk about, no, I like her brain thick. Shut up.
Yeah, let me actually add this quickly.
Hold on. Quickly, Razuli, let's try not to use the N word on the panel.
I didn't use the N word. I said, what?
All right.
Was I the only person who heard that? But go ahead.
No, you weren't the only person. But anyway, what I would say is that, I normally wouldn't entertain the question, but just because it's shoot the breeze, I would. But I completely agree that. But I would also say that it's pretty interesting because at one point I was watching a kind of a white program, and the women were like, it was like they had like, everybody was, I guess it was role playing. It was role playing game. All right, so everybody was talking about what their character looks like, and the women always describe the height of their character, whereas the men kind of just describe their character. So I think that, these are women talking about the height of their women, like, oh, she was 6 foot, or she was 5'4", or something like that. And so I think that whereas, I think that women do categorize men based off of their appearance, but mainly about height, whereas men would categorize women mainly about their weight. But that also ties, and that might be just an American thing, but it also ties into how in America, men of higher height are actually valued more, and women of lower weight are valued more, at least especially inside of the white ambiance. And I want to say, actually, I want to just add this. It's really interesting. When I was in high school, and I think this is something that always happens around the country, probably like every high school newspaper all the time, but they would always tell stories of the different beauty standards between the races. And they would say that the Asian likes the thinnest woman, the white person likes the middle, the middle type woman, and the black person likes the thick woman, or the fatter woman. And I don't know if I feel like every freaking high school runs the same story in the same paper, because it's just like a part of the propaganda, the free press and all that kind of stuff. But it is a interesting thing that we just kind of adopted, notwithstanding, and it might just be a part of the socialization, the social program at hand.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Oni. In the chat, Marcus McGee has joined us tonight. He said, I told my wife 220 is her limit. She's nowhere near that, though. LOL. Gas in the private chat said, thick women are typically useless. Real Black Gentleman says he's 5'9", but his personality is towering. Yeah, short dudes always say their personalities are larger.
Brother Koku, just for the record, remember, when you guys play back, I never said I like women's brain thick. I said that thick in the reference to them being slow.
Yeah. No, I got that. Thanks for the clarification, though. Brother Bakari out in the chat said Gassanoff was speaking professional BS, LOL, as if he doesn't look at women. I'm sure Gas does, but I get Gas's point. But like I said, I think we could do both things. With that said, though, I got to move on to the next prompt. Should Breeze prompt number 4 is: animals are primitive, but they work together. How come we don't do this? By the way, again, that beauty standard thing, that's a dope conversation we just had. We should try to do some aspect of a beauty standard conversation every week on Shoot the Breeze. Again, if you guys want to help me come up with 5 to 10 subject areas, please join the Discord if you haven't already. And let's come up with these 5 to 10 subject areas. And, Black beauty standards should be one of those.